It's Behind the Hype with me, your host, as always, Brian Dressel. With me, Chewy Darso.
Hello.
And Jonathan Hardesty.
Yo.
That voice is just not for me. Like, I will not be asked to take over for the intro guy at SNL, but I'll keep trying for the next 2 weeks here. Maybe by week 4, I'll have a good one. But
you know what? I believe in you.
Andy Richter type of thing.
Yeah, I can do the intro for Fridays.
There you go. We'll just do that. Switch the theme halfway through.
Yeah, we're gonna do Fridays movies. Did they make? I don't think they made any movies, did they? They weren't on very long.
I don't even remember that. I thought you were talking about the restaurant.
No. There was another sketch comedy show at the same time, like called Fridays.
Is that the one that Kelsey Grammer tried to do?
I don't know if Kelsey Grammer. It's famously had the one where Andy Kaufman was on set and went, "I don't want to do a sketch where I'm smoking pot. I want to do this. I'm leaving," and stormed off stage in the middle of a live taping.
Oh, wow.
That's the entirety of my Fridays trivia knowledge, and it's because it's in the movie Man on the Moon. Anyhow, let's move into today's episode. So it might not even be true. I think it is.
Of all the comedians in the upcoming movie, Andy Kaufman
is
and
not
Andy
one of
Richter
them.
is not in that.
Neither one of them. Oops.
Is there an Andy in this movie? There might be one.
There might be an Andy somewhere in there. There's an
No,
Art.
but there's a Ronnie.
There is a Ronnie.
There's an Adam.
There's an Adam. There's quite a few people. Anyway, we're doing Coneheads today.
Yeah.
Chewy's pick of the month, and she picked it mostly because you hadn't seen it.
I hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
And it looked more fun than Superstar, which we're also going to watch later, and I've not seen.
That's my bad. I wanted to go funny with it. You guys went and picked good movies accidentally for one of you. Spoilers in a moment.
This movie's great.
This movie's actually pretty good. I mean, it's not good, but it's actually pretty good. We'll get into it. I actually have a few Where Have They Been Doings this week. John, did you have any?
No, but I did watch a few Conehead sketches earlier today, just to kind of get into the vibe and the inspiration behind the movie and stuff like that. I watched one where the Coneheads were on Family Feud.
Okay,
And,
that is actually one of ours. We just watched that entire episode of SNL. Like, we figured that'd be a good way to do a Where They've Been Doing, just watch a whole episode. So we just watched that entire thing. So we also watched that sketch. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I like the movie a lot more.
Yeah, I gotta say, I've been going through a lot of, like, that was, you and I have the exact same Where They've Been Doing. I watched, I think, 4 Conehead sketches today.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, these are funny, but they all kind of overstay their welcome a minute, and it's like once you get the gag, it's not that great anymore. Like, they're fine. I can see why people liked them. The movie's funnier.
I still can't believe they made the movie.
Oh, yeah.
When was the last time they had done a Conehead sketch?
It was a while in between, because, like, the entire cast was different. It's not like Dan Aykroyd was still on the show.
Yeah.
Like, most of the cast, well, not most, a good chunk of the cast shows up in the movie. Like, that's Adam Sandler, David Spade, all that. That was the cast, not Dan Aykroyd or Jane Curtis anymore.
Nope.
I also watched just one other one, unless you had another sketch you want to talk about beyond the Family Feud.
Which one did you watch?
I watched Family Feud, and then I watched the one where they went to see their neighbors with John Belushi.
Yep.
Okay, so we watched the same ones. That's fucking hilarious.
Without even planning it. That is great.
Nope. I think we both went to YouTube and searched Conehead sketches, and we took the first 2.
You probably did.
No, I really planned it in advance. What are you talking about?
Well, that's how I got there, so I can pretty much piece together how you got there.
We only have one rule here, and otherwise just go crazy.
Just go nuts. Oh my god. The best thing about the John Belushi sketch is the ending. I didn't look into it. I don't know if Aykroyd was supposed to dive out the window, but for the sketch, for those of you who haven't seen the one that we're talking about, basically they move into a neighborhood, and the John Belushi and who's the other, Gilda Radner, ask them to come over to visit for the afternoon, and it's just kind of like, oh, they're aliens, not from France, and that's the joke. But at the end of the movie, Belushi, or the end of the sketch, Belushi pulls out this like hair dryer that's shaped like a cone head, like those old school salon hair dryers.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm selling these at-home hair dryers, and all the Coneheads stand up and scream and start to run out the room. But as they get to the edge of the room, Aykroyd dives out the window, and then all three of the Coneheads all three of them go out the window too, but the last one kind of gets stuck.
Yeah.
And Belushi and
Gets
Gilda
stuck.
just lose it. Like the rest of the sketch is just them like with hands over their mouths, just clearly laughing, just saying their lines just for it to end. Like, can this be over
Gotta
now?
get through this.
That was too funny.
Yep.
I'll have to watch this later.
It's pretty funny. The other thing that I felt that I just had to do, because we didn't do it last week, and that felt like a huge misstep, is I went back and I watched a Blues Brothers appearance on SNL, the one where they sing Soul Man. And it's pretty much what you'd expect from, if you've just seen the movie, you've never seen the sketches, it's just like the end of the movie. It's just one of their performances. They come on to the like same music brings them on. They sing their song. They have the wacky dances. They play the harmonica. It's pretty much what you expect. It's just a song I knew, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's always fun. Like, they are incredibly engaging, fun people.
And that's why they got the first movie.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, I wish I could get a hold of the album notes, because they actually did an album too.
They've done a few.
Where they work on the show note and the sleeve notes or whatever. They had actually some of that backstory stuff that you get in the movie. I was like, what a cool idea, just to kind of spring up from this.
Yeah, it's just I really dig the Blues Brothers. They're pretty cool.
Hot take.
Yeah, but today is about Coneheads.
Conehead.
Or as I titled our episode, just because I'm funny, Pyramid Feats. I crack myself up.
We enjoy mass quantities of humor.
Really quick summary of the movie. Chewie, you picked it.
Summary of the movie. The beginning of the film starts much like most sci-fi films, with a spaceship, close-ups of someone piloting a spaceship and then crashing. And it turns out they crashed into Earth. They were supposed to take over Earth, another, typical sci-fi thing, and they failed to not quite so humorous ends at the beginning of they just need to go live a life. So this movie's all about how the Coneheads just accidentally end up living the American dream,
Yeah, it is kind of just we crash landed here. We want to leave. Well, you have to wait seven
something.
Zerls.
Which we don't really that's definitely more than 7 years.
I think it ends up being like 16 Earth years.
Yeah.
Ish.
Something like that. But yeah, they just kind of fall into the great suburban monolith and are very accepted and everything. It's like the ideal version of what America should be.
Welcome.
Except they still have like the weird people who want to control immigration constantly, but then everyone else is about as accepting as you could ever be. That's this movie, and then to me, it's kind of like makes this movie really homely and fun.
Oh yeah, like you just go to you want to see how accepting everybody is. Go to the scene where how am I blanking on his name?
Beldar.
Beldar. I want to say
Oh.
Bowen. Beldar goes to the dentist. Like, there's your prime example. Everyone just kind of rolls with it.
Well, I guess to the things is they have to assimilate. So to assimilate, he has to get rid of his really pointy, multi-layered teeth. They change the way they dress and everything. They get a job, and then they have a daughter, and then they, like I said, they live the American dream.
Yeah.
And then, they have to go back to their planet, and then they find out they don't like their old life anymore, and they go back to Earth.
Well, they do fight a Rancor. Don't forget about fighting
really
it.
a
It's
Rancor.
totally a Rancor. Like,
No.
Yeah, no, it's totally.
thank you.
Except that it's not.
Except that it is. Okay, granted,
The name
it's-
tag when he checks into work is Rancor.
I mean, it's a little smaller than a Rancor. I'll give you that
It's
much.
also blue.
Paint
You know
job.
what color the Rancors
And
are at
has
their
a
home planet?
different shaped head.
Slightly different
And
shape.
different vocabulary.
Oh my god. You're going down to the vocabulary?
Yes.
It's a Rancor, and
If you read the books.
I did
before-
read the books.
Did you read? You did read.
I did read the
Courtship of Princess
books.
Leia. They have thoughts and feelings.
Sure.
As
And so
do
does
we
a
all.
Rancor in this movie, and he goes, I don't like golf.
Golf
They-
sucks.
there's a-
Golf sucks.
That was
Dead Rancor.
one of- honestly, honestly, that was one of the best through line jokes that I've seen in a long time.
The golf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The golfing.
There's just kind of getting into the movie. There's something about this one, and I'm not really sure what it is, and we'll try to figure that out as we go today. It's not. You look at it, you watch it. It's very clearly like the quintessential version of an SNL movie, where it's just a series of sketches. Here's the Coneheads doing this. Here's Beldar at work. Here's what it's like when the girlfriend has a boyfriend. Like, it's just kind of like a collection of scenes with a very, very light through line that's basically just there to be funny and entertain you. It's a recipe for both success and extreme disaster. However, I can look at this one and go, but all the sketches, all those scenes worked. They were all funny. And they actually, the growth sure wasn't the story so much, because it really is just kind of waiting for your car to show up, or waiting for your cab. Like, that is the movie. It's like, all right, they're going to pick us up in 16 years. I guess we'll hang out. I'll look at my phone for a little bit. No, that didn't really fill that much time. I guess I should have a kid. It's
right.
I am with
my
home.
thoughts exactly.
But it's a very kind of basic premise to make a movie, and it solely relies on, are those sketches funny? Because most of the time when you watch a movie that's kind of a collection of sketches, if even one or two of the sketches don't work, the whole movie starts falling apart. Specifically, I'm thinking of the movie The 10. There's moments.
I like The 10.
There are scenes that are gut-bustingly funny, and there are scenes that are why is this still happening? I never had that feeling throughout all of Coneheads.
I would use it as an example of that. Napoleon Dynamite.
Sure, yeah, that's a very good example of that. Yeah, I don't think Coneheads has that problem, and it feels like when you look at the reviews, people thought it did when it came out, but the movie really didn't age poorly. I had a good time watching it. I love watching Chris Farley in anything.
I think people would like it more now than they did then, because back then since they actually had sketches of Coneheads, people had ideas of what they would be.
Sure.
And originally, Blues Brothers, since they were more of a musical act, weren't held down by any preconceptions of what they would have been outside of that.
Yeah, never. I guess I could be wrong, but I don't think Dan Aykroyd ever said on SNL as Jake, not Jake,
that they were orphans.
Elwood. No, that they're on a mission from God.
Yeah,
I don't think that ever came up in the show. That was all for the movie. Whereas this one, everything here came from the show for the most part. The whole we're from France.
Yeah,
that's from the show.
Yeah. But since I haven't seen any of the sketches other than the one,
mm-hmm.
I just assume that a lot of people, especially because it had that suffering of time.
Oh yeah.
Of nostalgia. People suffer from that now. You didn't fit what I thought my nostalgia was, so therefore I hate this.
Well, and that's kind of why I was glad to be able to watch some of those sketches before even talking now about it, because my guess is that, all those moments in the sketches are pretty similar in the movie, just different in our kind of distance from the actual, from SNL, the sketches that they're in, I think helped a lot, and is going to help this age even better as time goes on. Because, like you said, Brian, those sketches, they kind of overstay their welcome about 2/3 of the way in.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, if you've experienced all of those and are really into all those sketches, the movie are like those sketches kind of strung together. So I could see getting a little bit burned out in the moment, in the era of Coneheads a bit. It's like, oh, okay, this is expected. They're from France, and you could
it's not
feel
live
that.
TV, so they can edit around this has been going on too long.
Well, yeah. I mean, that definitely helps it. But.
Yeah, because with sketches, sometimes they'll just keep going way, like you said, way past them being funny, but they have the time to fill on live TV, so they can't stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I could see, that's from then, maybe why this one didn't, wouldn't have the magic that, Blues Brothers might. But in time, would have the same magic. I felt similarly gleeful and happy watching both of these movies within the past couple weeks.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is the Blues Brothers is a long movie. Like that's a long sit. It's almost 2.5 hours long. It came from a 300-page script, so the fact it's only 2 hours long is pretty decent. This movie is a nice trim hour 20. hour 25 with credits.
Yeah.
Like,
It didn't need to be longer. It was
No.
perfectly paced.
like for the sketches that kind of overstayed their welcome, they definitely took that note for the movie. They're like, all right, people aren't going to want to sit here for more than 90 minutes. So let's make sure they're out before 90 minutes.
Like, one of my favorite examples of that in this movie is probably when Primat, or Jane Curtin, is at the grocery store with her friend. And they're full on late 80s, early 90s attire. And they're just talking about relationships and how men are pigs and blah, blah, blah. And then Primat just sees a eggplant. And then she screams really loudly. And then she grabs the eggplant and laughs. And the scene's done. And I didn't need her looking at any other vegetables or fruit or whatnot. That was perfect.
The just kind of moving into, like, let's talk about the individual Coneheads as much as we can here, and I'll start with Jane Curtin because I fucking love Jane Curtin.
She's so good.
There's things about Jane Curtin that I think are just hysterical in and of themselves. I can still watch Third Rock from the Sun and find her hysterical in every fucking episode. Like, she's great. But there's something that she did with this character and they kind of did in the movie that I think was just genius. Where we have the daughter who is born on Earth, is raised in Earth, has like an Earth accent. She's very human, with the exception of not being a human. And then you have Dan Aykroyd, who's been forced to go out into the world. He gets a job as a driving instructor. He likes to play golf with his friends. Like, he's out and about. So he starts to assimilate a little bit. And then you go to Primat, and she is the at-home mom.
She reads a lot of Cosmo.
She reads a lot of Cosmo. She might go to the grocery store with a friend.
housekeeping.
But for the most part, she stays home. So whereas the other two start becoming more and more human, you have Jane Curtin, who's over here still being this goofball alien in every scene. And every scene she's in, she steals. She's so fucking good in this movie.
She's amazing.
Yeah, no, I think I was watching her the most in this movie. Whenever she was on screen, it was Dan who. And I like Dan Aykroyd a lot, but like, yeah, no, it was just like whoop, zero it in, like right on her. Because every genuine laugh was really coming from everything she did. For me.
There's like a scene where she's reading a Bible and just laughing hysterically. and when you... If
That's
you look
like at the very beginning
Yeah, yeah.
when they put at the same hotel.
Yeah, and-
Which, by the way, is when we get our first example of being accepted, because you have Kramer as the motel clerk, and he's just fine with everything.
Totally fine with everything. But the beat about Jane Curtin reading the Bible, what she's reading is supposed to be the end of the world, and she finds it hysterical because she knows how the world ends. Conehead invasion. So it's so funny that they would take it as anything but that.
Yeah. You never did see their glowing feet again.
No.
There's the one time you saw her feet, and for some reason the bottom of the shoes were glowing.
There's a lot of just sight gags that just kind of happen once and go away, but I'm kind of fine with
Like
it.
him eating the toilet paper.
Him eating the toilet paper.
Eating
or
the soap, the toilet paper, and
the sandwich that she just...
They eat a lot. I
They
mean,
do eat a lot.
that's established throughout the film.
That's true.
I weirdly enough forgot that I've been quoting this movie when I for a while there I would say eating mass quantities, and I didn't ever, and then for a while I forgot why I would say it that way. I was like, why do I keep calling this mass quantities? And then watching it, I'm like, oh, this.
That happens to me with shameless plug for our other show, Frisky Dingo. Every now and then I'll just say something like, where did I come up with that? And then when I go back through Frisky Dingo, I'm like, that's it. This fucking show.
I know I've seen in other movies characters just blasé like eating the word just left me.
Bananas.
The stuff in the walls.
Oh, fiberglass?
Well, it's made out of fiberglass.
Insulin?
Insulation.
Insulation, not insulin.
Insulation. Good Lord.
Insulation. Where Primat is eating just casually. They don't even pan to it or anything. It's just one little on the side sight gag that she's eating the insulation in the walls of their trailer.
Oh no.
And I'm just like, that was so easy to miss.
I did miss it, unfortunately. Oh man.
And then I just think back, I've seen that in shows and other movies. People eating insulation, but they make a point about it. So I'm like, were all these things like making a reference to Coneheads?
That'd be hysterical.
Probably. And then even the gag with the vacuum, I was not ready for it. I forgot in this movie that
I remember
the vacuum
that from
gag.
the trailer. And I remember seeing the trailer growing up. And
yeah,
I remember that I remember that was in the trailer. Her the daughter eating the sub was in the trailer.
You remember this trailer very well. I
Yeah.
don't remember the trailer at all.
Because I was fascinated by Coneheads, but when this came out, I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, that's
Because this was, what year was this? 93? I'm thinking 93.
93.
yeah, 93.
Yeah, so I was 10.
Yeah.
And my parents weren't taking me to this movie.
I was 7, and my dad didn't take me to it. He did rent it for me to watch at home, and we watched it together. And I want to say 5 minutes in, my dad was just in a bad mood.
Yeah. Your dad doesn't like absurd things.
No, I don't remember where my mom was, but my dad was just not into it. I remember like, this is so funny. And I look at my dad, and he's just arms crossed, just like, it's like, this is not funny. I can't say he's wrong, but at the same time,
It
he's
is
very wrong. It's hysterical.
But it's so absurd. It is nonsensical, absurdist humor, and it's true. Like, you have to really let go of certain things, and if you're not capable of that, then you're not. It's like when we played apples to apples with your dad, and he couldn't handle us sending like the completely incorrect cards.
That's why it's funny. Oh my god! All right, let's move on to the daughter. Wow, what was her name again?
I was convinced she was played by, I just forgot her name from Who's the Boss? Alyssa Milano.
Alyssa Milano.
I was convinced she was played by Alyssa Milano.
It's not Alyssa Milano.
And yeah, that's what I learned.
Yeah, it's definitely not Alyssa Milano.
Where is she? Connie Cone. Go back up. Connie Conehead is Michelle Burke. What else do we know Michelle Burke from?
Michelle Burke is famous for the only other movie that I know off the top of my head is Dazed and Confused, which is funny because in this movie she's friends with Joey Lauren Adams and Parker Posey, and in Dazed and Confused she's best friends with Joey Lauren Adams and Parker Posey.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't even notice who her friends were. I didn't notice it was Parker Posey.
and Joey Lauren Adams, who's also in Dazed and Confused.
Who's Joey
Yeah.
Lauren Adams?
You know Joey Lauren Adams.
She was also in Mallrats, right?
She's in Mallrats. She's in Big Daddy. She's in.
Yeah.
Oh, the blonde
weirdly
girl.
enough,
Yeah.
I always see Joey Lauren Adams'
Guys,
name in the credits.
You want me to remember who she is? Biodome.
Oh yeah, Biodome. I forgot.
Come on.
Forgot. We have to do a month on Pauly Shore at some point, just for Chewy.
Play to your audience. You're looking at me and you're Mallrats. No, wait, I've seen Mallrats once.
Yeah, I say. I'm pretty sure you saw.
I've seen Mallrats once. And
I'm pretty sure you saw Mallrats.
I said once. Is that a joke in Mallrats?
No, it's just I could see how annoyed you were getting every time I said it. So I had to keep
It's a Brian joke.
Oh, and I finally realized where I knew Gladys Johnson, the driving student, from. She's Maroney's mom in 30 Rock. For the longest time, it was bothering me. Like, why do I know this woman?
Because she's a woman who's obsessed with aliens in 2 different properties with Jane Curtin.
Was she in 30
Yes, she
Rock?
was.
Oh. I forgot that one too then.
Yeah, she's in Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah. But mostly I remember it as the mom to, I'm forgetting her name on 30 Rock. This is the episode of Chewy Can't Remember Names.
This is the worst podcasting ever. Fuck is her Jenna Maroney.
Jenna
God
Maroney's
damn
mom,
it.
which was her last on-screen role before she died.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, R.I.P. Jen Hooks. Throat cancer's a bitch.
Yeah, fuck cancer. But let's go back way back to 20 minutes ago when we were talking about Michelle Burke. Michelle Burke as the daughter. She's clearly supposed to be kind of like our intro character, like the ones us humans relate to.
Yeah.
But she's still just weird enough, and I think she does enough with that character that she's actually quite enjoyable throughout. Like, she's not really one with, like, any comedic lines or comedic beats. She's more of, like, a vehicle for other things to be funny around her or for, like, sight gags to be funny. So it's not, like, the most, like, heavy lifting job. But it's still an important one, and I think she does a really good job with it. Like, she's good with reaction. She's good with timing. Like, she's good at everything.
She's the closest thing to a straight man we have in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Because even, like, Ronnie, Chris Farley's character, like, you can never have Chris Farley as a normal dude. Like, so he's still a total...
He's kind of a dork that works at a mechanic office and is also a caddy.
Yeah, and also is a little bit of a predator, although he doesn't entirely know that and gets schooled real hard by Beldar, which is good. He corrects course after that.
Yeah, he says thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like her relationship with Ronnie, like, is great, endearing. I wasn't expecting to enjoy that as much as I did this time around watching it. After years, I was like, I know that there was a thing, like they had a Ronnie character and her, but I'm really here for Primat, right?
Yeah.
But no, I was really into their budding relationship in this, and even that what you just said, him getting schooled and him actually getting better and becoming a better person for the most part. Like, that's cool. That was cool to see.
You don't really see that often in movies, especially in like kind of goofball comedies. Like, lessons aren't really learned, and like he learned that lesson well.
Yeah.
Which was
and he even becomes an ally to them.
Yeah, and even Beldar kind of forgives him with that, like, Ronnie, can I say 55 words to you? And then if you go back and you count his line, he says exactly 55 words.
Well, he probably wrote the speech and then went back and
I'm
edited
sure.
the script later.
It's like,
Well, I mean, if Dan Aykroyd wrote it, it would have been like 300 words, right?
can I say 365 words to you? One per day.
But
It's gonna take a minute.
and even like Ronnie, again, super accepting and stuff, and it kind of made me think of Demolition Man when it came to their quote unquote sex scene, where Stallone was not into the whole mind meld thing to have sex, but Ronnie was.
Ronnie was a guy who I don't think gets laid very often. He's like, whatever it takes. You want to wear that
Right.
wreath? Cool, let's wear the wreath.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with the sensor ring, man. Yeah.
Where did you get those? Under your bed? I'm like, how? They sleep standing up.
So it's on a hook. It's behind their bed. Or maybe it's just under like the 1 foot width of their bed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, either way could be it. Really.
Yeah, they all work. I gotta say though, I know there's not really much that she had to do with this scene, but I fucking love the diving scene because there's no way they'd ever let her on the team.
No.
Like they'd never let her. Like I don't know what they would say, or maybe they would because like how the fuck do we fight this? No, you can't be on the team because
This
your
is-
head's shaped
It's
weird.
the way you were born, and you can't. It's too much of an advantage.
What you were born is an advantage. Like I don't know what they would do, but it is just hysterical. Like she would have just won a gold medal at the Olympics. Like that's how good that dive was.
I love the sound design of that scene,
Oh, it's
especially
so
when she
good.
hits the water and it's like, whoop.
And apparently, her coach was Ellen DeGeneres. And
It was.
I did
Yeah.
not notice that.
This movie, just a brief side note, has the film debut of Drew Carey, Ellen DeGeneres, and Joey Lauren Adams.
I feel like you could do a bingo or drinking game or something to spot the more famous later comedian.
Oh yeah, just spot the comedian. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
some of them were more famous later because they were on SNL at the time. But it's just like, holy crap, this movie is just filled to the gills with either Dan Aykroyd's friends, Dan Aykroyd's family, or just comedians.
I mean, even so, like, what's his face playing a customer at the very beginning? Eddie Griffin.
Oh, yeah.
When did he get his show? It was in the late 90s, right?
Yeah, it was after this.
It was way after this, and he looked exactly the same. I don't think Eddie Griffin ages. And I was just like,
No, he's a Highlander for sure.
I want him to be in more of the movie. He was just a random customer who got his one scene.
I mean, even Sinbad's in it for a minute.
He gets more scenes.
Yeah, he does. He's an actual character. But it's still like, oh, wow, Sinbad.
I love,
Phil Hartman has
I
a scene.
freaking
Like,
loved Sinbad and the taxi boss. I don't remember who played him. Was it Shashir Karup?
I don't remember.
Kodri? Just the birthing scene itself, complete chaos. What is happening? Fluids are flying everywhere. The doctors and nurses are running all about.
Oh my god! Just when her water breaks in the house, just,
And floods out the whole thing. God.
Dude, you could make like 10 Frankensteins with that much fluid.
See,
Reference to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
yeah, what's funny is like that's what I imagined pre having my two kids is like what would happen even during some of the pregnancy. I was like, I hope we have enough towels for the flooding that's going to happen. But not understanding like I'm referencing this movie still, like that stuff has been so burned and ingrained in my mind,
Well, when you if you have a third child, you can definitely reference this some more.
yeah, there you go.
Will not bite the umbilical cord though. Jeez.
Oh my god! Would you like to cut the umbilical cord? Yes. My god, just Jane Curtin and Dan Aykroyd's is so good.
I swear, like it was actually quite refreshing to be able to see his eyes in this movie, since we can't see his eyes
Oh, in Blues Brothers.
in Blues
Yeah.
Brothers, and he's like he's trying to be stoic and serious the whole time. So just see the glee in the moments in this film, the utter joy and love he's having playing this character. Like the shot when he wins the best improved game or whatnot.
Oh,
at
he's
the
so
golf.
happy.
He's so happy to get that friggin' trophy.
I just love the little, when he's imagining the trophy being his, the head just grows into a cone shape.
Yeah. Like you fight your whole life to feel all the joy that he feels in this one movie. No wonder they come back to Earth.
The funny thing is, just kind of moving into Dan Aykroyd, is like, I feel like late in life, Dan Aykroyd has kind of tainted my opinion of Dan Aykroyd so much that I forgot how fucking great he used to be.
Yeah.
Like, going back to Blues Brothers and this, it's like, holy fuck. Like, I agree with John, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm here for Jane Curtin. Like, she's the reason I will love this movie forever, because it's just, she's such a goofball. But Dan Aykroyd has to carry the film. Without Dan Aykroyd, we don't have the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work without him.
He is the matriarch.
Yeah. But he earns it. Like, he...
Is it matriarch? It's
Patriarch.
It's patriarch.
Matriarch.
But you know, it's funny that you said it the other way, though.
It is very funny you went the other way.
Because matriarch is so positive and patriarch is so bad.
No, I liked your joke the other way. I thought you were joking.
Me too.
But yeah, like there's something to be said about it. Like he does a great job. Like he is in it every scene. Like I always remember quality Dan Aykroyd from Ghostbusters, and that's about it. Like I know he was good in other things. I'm not insane. Like I go back to the SNL sketches, he's hysterical. But I kind of forgot how good he used to be in movies. And like it's just so much fun these 2 weeks going back and like, holy fuck, he was good. Like he's just so funny.
This has almost become a low key like
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd month.
Well, I mean, the first half was. I don't think he's in the rest of it.
No. Yeah, no, it's just great. He's great, and you kind of forget, from where we're sitting in 2020, having the rest of his filmography later on is just like, oh, okay.
I mean,
like
does he
you
have
said,
a
you forget.
filmography anymore? He just sells vodka, right?
He pops up in things here and there, but he like also just like in interviews, he's a little bit of a curmudgeon, and it's just like he's just not as much fun. And I get it. I mean, like he doesn't have to be. Like he doesn't owe that to anybody.
Right.
But
We kind of get less fun as we get older.
it happens. But still,
Yeah,
like
angrier, yeah.
yeah, and I think all that kind of tracks. But at the same time, like it does make this going back to Blues Brothers and Coneheads like that much more enjoyable, because it's just fun watching Dan Aykroyd have fun. Like when he's having fun, his movies are better.
Yeah.
And throughout the last 2 movies we watched, you can tell he's having a blast the whole way through.
Totally.
Because I think that holds true with Ghostbusters as well. Like you can tell he's loving every second of Ghostbusters. When he's enjoying his job, we're better off for it.
Hopefully that'll come out in the next Ghostbusters movie.
Oh,
Fingers
boy.
crossed on that one.
I'm not
When
even
is
crossing
that
any
gonna
fingers.
come
I don't even care.
Ghostbusters was a thing, and it was great, and now it's not.
Still coming out to probably VOD because theaters aren't opening.
At least not in this country.
Yeah.
Other countries.
Yeah, now
will.
I want Beldar to show up in this new Ghostbusters movie. They open the
Oh my god. that is
barn
so much
door, and you see the cone silhouette, and he's like, welcome.
better. Oh my god. And just like little things, like when I made the joke earlier about his family being in this, his daughter is in the movie. She plays the young version of their daughter. And the only reason that was is because she was so obsessed with the Conehead makeup and costume when she came to visit the set, she wanted one of her own. And they're like, well, why don't we just put her in the movie? Then she'll definitely have one of her own and it'll be perfect.
Yeah.
So they did.
That's amazing.
It's so good. But beyond like the title cast, we still have a whole bunch of other people that show up in this thing. And we have everyone from active SNL members to previous SNL members to cast members of Fridays from earlier in the show. And I think even somebody from Second City, maybe?
The Canadian guy, Dave Thomas. He wasn't on Second City, right?
No, was he? He wasn't Kids in the Hall.
No, he was.
Or what was it, SCTV or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Second City TV.
And-
So Second City.
Oh, that is
yeah.
Second
Yeah,
City?
Second City TV.
S-
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that's what it stood for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dave Thomas. He was never on SNL or
Yeah.
any of that, but he plays the High Master.
He's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Man, when Dave Thomas is on, he is goddamn hysterical.
He was a great comedian.
Oh my god. Like even going back to like Rat Race. Like he's got a very minuscule part, but he's hysterical in it. I like Dave Thomas. David Spade cracked me up the whole way through. Like he was just
I forgot he was in this.
I did too until we started watching it, and it's like he's just basically playing his character from Just Shoot Me before he was on Just Shoot Me, but it worked. He's just kind of a wormy little assistant guy. And I love how he just, even on the Conehead's home planet, he still worms his way into an assistance to power job.
Yeah.
He's very, very good at it.
You
I got
gotta
this.
secure
I got
your
this.
Positions, man.
Why don't you just hand it to me? He's having a rough day.
I love that line in this.
Oh my god. But there were people like I didn't even like really notice. Like I didn't catch Tim Meadows. Like I knew where he was because I'd seen it like in those. Did you know so and so was in this movie?
He was Athletic Cone.
Yeah, I think he's like one of the first ones killed off by the Rancor.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
In the Rancor.
It took
scene,
me a
right?
second.
The scene with the
Yep,
Rancor.
the Rancor scene.
Right.
I had to pause that
Ryan's
Rancor
just annoying
scene
me.
and rewind it a little bit.
Because you like
and then
Rancor
fast
so
forward
much,
on
right?
Yeah.
You just wanted to see more and more Rancors.
Yeah.
I had it playing on
No.
3 screens, so there's 3 Rancors going at one time.
I had an extra wide monitor to watch the Rancor scene in like a wider
I'm gonna
depth.
try to find something that bothers you like that.
Should just do the whole episode on Rancors. And about how this is a Rancor. I'll stop.
That is a great idea for a month of our podcast. Just the Rancor month, and it's just a month of strife.
Oh, fuck. There isn't a lot to go on with Rancor. I guess we can read a book.
Everyone should go read The Courts of Princess Leia. It's not the best of the pre-Disney books, but it is a lot of fun.
I actually, I'm shitting out a lot. I actually really enjoyed the book. All right, what have we missed in this thing? Is there anything particularly notable about the production design in this? I know there were, at least according to the IMDb trivia, there were subtle nods to France throughout their house, which I did not catch, but I also wasn't keeping an eye out
I'm
for.
not really into French stuff, so I wouldn't
okay.
catch that so much. I mean, the decor was delightfully, like, they captured the feeling of them becoming a American nuclear family.
Yeah.
Like, they really, like, cemented the idea that they just somehow simulated perfectly with all of the design aspects, with the clothing, with their choice of jobs, with the design of the house and everything.
Fuck, with their Halloween costumes. Like, just their Halloween costumes.
She's lipstick.
She's lipstick. He's Abe Lincoln.
He's Abe Lincoln, and the daughter is a princess with a big hat. Like, it's all so perfect. The one thing that we didn't talk about is, do they poop?
No, they get rid of
get-
waste some other way.
You see the one thing of Beldar going into the shower and hanging out with the dudes. He's got these little nubs where normally
Shrek
butt
nubbins
dimples
on
would
his
be.
butt?
Yeah. And then he has no butt crack.
You know what they do? They use the 3 shells.
They use the 3 shell.
Yeah.
Is that where that comes from?
Yep.
Is that okay? I mean, this is in the 90s, so that is the future.
It could work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. If everyone poops, how do Coneheads poop?
Maybe that book was wrong.
Well, that
eat
book
a
hasn't seen
lot.
Coneheads.
Yeah. The book should be retitled All Humans and Most Mammals and, well, reptiles too. And, well, I guess fish. And everything but coneheads poop. That is the full title, by the
That
way.
is the full title of the book.
It kind of gets lost in thought halfway through. I like long titles. Sue me.
And I also just love that Beldar has the perfect work and home balance. He is an amazing employee while still being attentive to his family.
Oh my god. I love how much people just love working with him.
Yeah.
He's the best
Yeah.
employee.
His cab always smelled kind of sweet.
I just
Yeah.
love I need you to work in tonight. Okay, but this is the last 3rd shift in a row. It's like, he's just ready to go. Oy.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned it. Just, it's kind of neat to see that. Like, he's not just some schlub. He's actually doing a great job at everything he does.
Yeah.
And it's not played for comedy in the same way that, like,
Be all that you can
you
be,
might
man.
do.
No,
Yeah.
he's a pretty sincere character.
Yeah.
In the most non-sincere goofball movie. I enjoyed rewatching it. I've enjoyed talking about it. This movie's just climbing my ranks. Sure, it's not the comedy classic that Blues Brothers was, but it's a pretty good movie.
There's no reason for this not to be appreciated. I don't.
Yeah,
That's why I was like at the very beginning of this podcast, how we all agree it's aging wonderfully. Once you can get past the nostalgia our parents must have had for the skits, and since we didn't have attachments to those things, we can just appreciate this movie.
Yeah, like it's widely renowned as like there's two good SNL movies, and it's Blues Brothers and Wayne's World, and that's it. I happily throw this one in with those two.
Yeah.
Like I think it is right there with them. I think the quality is there. I think the comedy is there. The chemistry, all of it works. I throw it. I mean, it might go Blues Brothers, Wayne's World, Coneheads, but
Right.
it wouldn't be like that. Wouldn't be a slight against Coneheads.
I
I'm for it.
tried thinking that Night at the Roxbury was going to be a fun rewatch, and it was not.
Nope. That is one of those examples of a series of sketches that does not work.
Nope.
Luckily, we still have Superstar coming. I'm sure that's going to be a good one.
I mean, It's Pat definitely did not age well. Like,
No.
this entire premise imagines that it's funny to make fun of trans people or non-binary people or probably all of the above.
Yeah, that movie. There's a reason we're not doing It's Pat. Those might be one of them.
It's weird because I've been reading just a little bit on the reception and just how harsh everyone was at the time. Just seeing like 1.5 stars out of 4 for Ebert, and just the general negativity about the movie, and then how we're coming at it, even like from our generation of just, it started off pretty fun and then it's only gotten better for us. It's weird to see that. For me, it's kind of, a little bit jarring.
Yeah, and then like you look at the director. We didn't really talk about the crew really at all for either one of these. Oh, we did a little bit last week because the director was super important. But Steve Barron, he's had a varied career, to put it mildly. Like he's been all over from like TV to documentary to this, that, and the other. But he's also done like big things. Like he did the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Like that was Steve Barron. He did what was the other one? He did one that you really liked, the miniseries, the Merlin miniseries.
Merlin!
Yeah, like that's campy as hell, but it's still fun. Like I'll make fun of it to the end of the day, but it's still a fun thing. Like he's done a ton of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
He did Bowie documentaries. Like I'm looking at his IMDb right now. He's done a bunch of stuff, so he's not a bad director. So I guess I get what John's saying. Like I don't get where the negativity is coming from. I feel like this one is just like, well, Blues Brothers worked, so they're just throwing anything at the wall and seeing if it sticks. So I'm going to go in expecting to be horrible, and it was horrible. I don't think anybody gave it a shot.
Yeah, and especially the line that was really standing out to me in like extreme bold as I read it is in the Ebert review, where it's like dismal, dreary, and fairly desperate. And I think maybe in the moment, at the time, that could have been how a lot of people who are more versed in film during that time would see that maybe as such. But from here, 2020, looking back and watching the movie, it was opposite of those words.
Yeah, I don't see any of that at all. Dreary, not at all. Like, I mean,
it was very bright and colorful.
Yeah, Ebert was he was a grump sometimes. That guy
He was.
Yeah, but just even seeing that and just trying to apply it, even try to come from that point of view to it, of something that like, oh, this feels like SNL's just cashing in. I mean, we have some of these complaints about modern versions of things, and it's interesting to see it from this angle, where the time has done all the work of really rearranging how people think about it.
Yeah, I don't think this one deserved any of the hate that it got, but oh well.
Oh well, indeed.
It's still out there, and it definitely deserves your time. But speaking of time, we've been going through quite a bit of it, so let's move into favorite moments. Favorite moments?
I think I said mine.
What's yours?
The grocery store when she sees the eggplant.
The thing is,
I like to think she does that every time she sees them in the grocery store.
the thing about that scene is that as soon as you're done describing it, I forget it. I don't know what it is about that scene. It just doesn't stick with me. But as soon as you mention it, I'm like, fuck, that was a funny scene. That was a very funny scene.
Because they're just talking, gossip, housewife bullshit.
I think mine's a little bit more of a somber moment. Not that it's somber. But I think it's got to be the Dan Aykroyd lesson that he gives Chris Farley, and it's just not even like really what he says or how he says it. It's just like the physicality of it when he just walks up, peels open the top of Chris Farley's car like it's a can of sardines, yells at him, and then bends it back into place. Like I really just enjoy. Like we've seen so many different movies and so many different TV shows and yada 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 do all of the like the dad being the physical, like I'm gonna hold a shotgun while I'm talking to my girlfriend's boyfriend, or I'm gonna like talk about the shovel I have to bury bodies in the backyard. Never has it been I'm gonna go peel back the hood of his car and talk to him and then put it back. Like it's just such a different way to do a very old joke, and I really enjoyed it. That one was mine. John, what about you?
I'm going to go with a slightly more subtle moment, relatively speaking, but one that wasn't a special effect, because I really was amused by the eating segments.
Oh, sure.
And the like where they have to move them out, like use the makeup to expand the mouth and all that, even the like special effects. But when they get down to breakfast and Dan Aykroyd just shovels, what was it, like 10 or 15 different Eggo waffles into his mouth, just one after the other, and I'm just like transfixed by that scene. And it was great. It was just a great subtle bit of physical comedy that was, I'm impressed, but also very amused and endeared by that scene.
Oh man, it's a good one for sure. God, double features this week is going to be a little difficult. I think I say that every week, but I feel like this week might.
I already have mine.
Well, now I guess it's not going to be difficult. I take back everything I just said, except for that I think I say this every week because I'm pretty sure I do. What's yours?
Not another teen movie.
Oh my goodness, no.
Okay.
Double feature.
I mean, you're totally right. They'd go together very well.
So many people don't appreciate how good that movie is.
How good Captain America is in that movie.
How good everyone is in that movie. And how many people are in that movie.
That is very true.
There's so many actors we love today that were in that movie and they did not get the love at the time.
No.
And just that movie just takes
we have Captain America. We have Randy Quaid. End of list.
Lots of other people.
So many people.
List them all out right now. Supergirl's sister.
She's also there.
I never remember her name.
Yeah, I can't remember the last name. I know her as Alex Danvers.
Yeah. But it's just one of those movies that the first time I watched, I'm like, whatever. It's another movie about these other movies that is probably not going to be good. And then it was. And then it turned out to be one of my favorite things to watch whenever I just need a pick-me-up.
I mean, out of all those mock-you movies, I'd say it might be the best one, which is weird because Scary Movie kind of kicked it all off.
Oh, yeah.
But
If I'm totally going to watch another more before I watch Scary Movie because it doesn't it has gross out humor in it.
It's a ton of gross
but
out.
It doesn't rely on it like the other one does.
Well, we'll get into those comedies in some other month when I do, like, I don't know, parody month. That'd be a rough fucking month.
It'd be a lot to choose from.
We'd have to do Meet the Spartans.
Month of depression. Woohoo!
But either so, I think watch Coneheads. And
you know this just got thrown on the calendar somewhere down the line, right?
Fine.
It just happened.
Because there's, I think their level of absurdity and Americana would work well together.
No, I definitely see what you mean there. John, what about you? Do you have one? I'm still kind of mulling.
I'm going to go with something that's maybe not as absurd, but has a few of those moments where you're like, oh, look at all those people in here. 10 Things I Hate About You.
Okay.
And it's going to be like, I like kind of shifting gears when it comes to a double feature like this. So you've got something that's super absurd, and then I want something that's like 90s funny. But like I want to shift it a little bit. And I think having a lot of people you recognize later from movies later on and things like that. And yeah, I think those would pair interestingly.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Mine's going to go a little bit of a different way, and it seems a little on the nose, but let me explain. I'm going with Men in Black. I feel like they'd work well. Yeah, they'd work well together. That's why I said it'd be on the nose.
They would end up hiring Beldar
Absolutely.
to work at the headquarters.
Oh no, I want that crossover.
But the reason why I think it's like they go together better than just the on the nose aspects is I think Coneheads has aged very well and might be a better movie now or better received now than it was when it came out, and I think Men in Black has gone the exact opposite direction. Like watching it now is kind of, I don't want to say a chore, but it doesn't really make me laugh like it used to. Like it's just kind of like everything's just kind of fine. Like I turn it on every now and then because I loved it so much when I was younger, but like it doesn't even bring me back like that. Like, oh, I was young Joy. So like it's still not a bad movie. It's still in entertaining. But I think just the idea that these two go together very well, and that added like this one got better and this one got worse, makes for a very interesting double feature. Just throw more layers into it. That's it. We did it.
Beautiful.
We cone-headed.
Yeah.
We consumed mass quantities.
We did consume mass quantities of humor.
I wish I had mass quantities of chocolate.
No,
I don't.
We don't. Next week, we have what is largely considered the other good SNL movie, even though this week we totally just debunked that nonsense. And we're doing Wayne's World. Special guest coming in next week, Mr. Brock Holiday from the Damage Boost podcast.
Oh, sweet.
When we mentioned that we were doing SNL movies, he immediately messaged me and went, are you guys doing Wayne's World? And I was like, yes, we are, Brock. He's like,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. And
That would be cool.
would you like to be on the episode, Brock? Yeah.
I think when he shows up next week, you need to talk to him in his voice.
You need to let him know. Stairway to Heaven is not allowed.
No stairway. Denied.
Denied.
Oh, my God. So next week's just going to be a quote run for 30 minutes.
Pretty much.
I don't even
that's all
own
we're gonna
a
be saying is
gun,
quotes.
let alone multiple guns to necessitate an entire rack. I can do.
Where
almost
would
the
I
whole-
get a gun rack?
Fuck, that is a funny movie, and I really look forward to watching it sometime over the next week. But until then, we have a whole bunch of plugs we can talk about, including this show and every other show on the ATH network at athpod.com, including our new show, Welcome to You Are Doom, the Frisky Dingle podcast, which has now had its second episode. This week was edited by Trey Johnson, and I forgot to throw in the credits. I had a whole plan to throw in credits, and then I just didn't, so I apologize. But that was the only thing that changed from the first week. Trey Johnson, thank you so much for editing our episode. It was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
And he did a great job. So please listen to episode 2. Episode 3 will be coming out shortly, probably on Monday if everything goes as according to plan. Chewy, what you plugging?
Superstore.
John, what you plugging?
Demon Days, the other podcast on our network. It's good.
It's good.
It's your show. You should sell it a little better than it's good.
I was trying to go like simple, quick and simple, like, but no, it's great. It's an actual play tabletop podcast, and we're having a great time, up to no good as usual.
I mean, it's every week is it's a doozy. And this week my voice is hurting a little bit more from the intro, which makes no sense because it wasn't that dramatic of an intro, but for some reason it's still in there.
Yeah,
The
no, I didn't
bullywug
try
is
to.
in my throat.
I just.
Yeah, no.
Oh, we're losing Chewy. She's going down.
You're always losing.
She's going down.
Yeah. I mean, it's 9:46 on a work day.
Woof. So we should probably say goodbye.
Yeah,
Is
we're
that
gonna
what
watch
you're
an episode of Grimm, right?
saying? I didn't know that was on the table. I guess we are watching an episode of Grimm. So we got to say goodbye really fast because who knows what those crazy Vestin are up to. For those of you keeping track, I am keeping my
They
promise.
are out there and they are voguing.
I'm in season 4 of Grimm. I told Chewy I'd do it. I did it on the air. I'm doing it.
You got invested.
In certain aspects.
And gosh darn it, to people like you. Oh, sorry.
Hey, this isn't that thing. That Stewart thing. Oh, we did watch
No.
that sketch. We brought it up last week, and now Chewy has watched an episode.
I don't get it. How did that get a movie?
Perfect.
That's the best way to end. Say goodbye. Bye.
Bye.